Right, hello and welcome to part 2 of the WIL Globabl Gathering. We did have some technical issues there and our lovely video also froze. It is on the website, we will play it again later and it will be on social media. But hopefully you got the gist of our awards and what we're aiming to do. So part 2 is to enable speakers and participants to join from the Middle East, Africa and Europe, and maybe some of our participants from part 1 are still awake. The segment is split into 4 sessions: inspiration, project, action and social. We hope you enjoy what's on offer and encourage you to say hello in the chat, ask questions or drop into the info booth to say hello to the Women in Lighting Ambassador for Russia, Olga. So we wanted to invite Jorg, Frank, Seemann and Michela Bonzi to speak today at our second inspiration session, as they are an absolutely brilliant example of a 50-50 male and female lighting consultancy. There they are, they keep popping up. They started their company Lucespazio a couple of years ago and are split between Zurich and Lugano. So Jorg, or Frank, as he's known in different countries, has a theatrical lighting background and is an alumnus from KTH. And Michela has an architectural background and has studied at the Politecnico di Milano. We hope you agree that their presentation title is one of the most intriguing ever seen on a programme, and I'm therefore excited to find out what on earth it means.
Thank you very much, Sharon and Marty, first of all, for the invitation. We are very proud to be part of this event today. So let's try to explain what purpose pandemic Pong pumping means. So our 5 P's presentation ideas, let's say. I will start with purpose. So we could maybe Martin, next slide. Purpose. The first question we ask ourselves is what makes us move every day? And we had a discussion, me and Frank. I will try to state it clear as much as I can. Purpose is raising the awareness of the intangible means of communication that light is. We do believe in that moment when this click happens. Clicks are given by our love for light. I think both are in love with light and lighting. And when these clicks happens, we are happy to share this passion and our knowledge with others, and happy as well to bring and express our light vision into a project. Next, there are some projects, for instance, where the awareness it's already there. And if we can see the next slide. This is like a recent project we have developed in Lugano. And the architects, for instance, they have a clear intention since the beginning. They were pretty much aware of lighting. And their idea was already there, a counter, and especially 2 main lighting elements, clear elements that we call the sun and the moonlight. So sometimes it's happened that you can be very lucky and you can get already a lot of inputs from the architects, let's say. In some other projects, and this might be the next slide. This is an art gallery, a tiny art gallery in Melbourne. The space is really small, but it has like a lot of the need of flexibility. Let's say the counter could move and the expositors can also move in space. And therefore that was a very nice and interesting exercise of following the need of flexibilities into the space. Next slide. Craft. This is another project we have developed in Australia, in Melbourne. Basically, it's that was a very limited budget project, and this is sometimes a very nice and interesting challenge for a lighting designer as well. No budget at all. The goal here was, let's say, to create kind of a light of tunnel to highlight the entrance and to give power to the object, to the handcraft object that were shown in the entrance area of the space. And the result was really achieved with a very, very simple lighting solution with no budget at all. Next one. Residential project. We work on a variety of projects. This is something also very interesting for us. And residential projects, these are like, for me, always pretty much feminine projects. That's how I define them. I am lucky and I have the chance to collaborate with several women, architects, women. And these are really a very funny space where we can share our, let's say, feminine attitudes towards a lighting project as well. Next one, please. Outdoor projects. There, I think, I mean, the combination of nature and light is something that really brings to magic result and very interesting one. So we do definitely love to work in outdoor project as well, a different application than interior, as you might know. Next one. We want to end up with art festival. Art festival, I mean, yeah, this is the Amsterdam Art Festival, for instance, and we do believe that the light application into festival, it's something really playful. It's really open to a wide audience, and it's a way you can also show the next slide, Martin. So it's the playful side of our job. That's where we can really have fun and have fun, basically. Next one.
And this is what, at the end of the day, hello to everybody, this is what it is about having fun. This is what Mickey and Frank are doing together. Also in those times, I joined Mickey's enterprise of Lucespacio like 1.5 years ago, and went traveling for half a year and then got back on this day a year ago. So the way how we develop projects, how we do project management, testing things, testing luminaires, everything is actually in this very way. And we just had problems to connect, right? So I'm now showing everything on this small screen, and there's 3 other screens here. So although I was not really happy with the image that you chose, Mickey,
I know,
for this pandemic topic, I think this actually represents it quite well. The cat is walking over it. Even professionals like Martin and Sharon don't know how to work the equipment. We always this kind of the extraordinary, the thing which should be exceptional becomes the normal, and at the same time, you're a bit kind of bored and don't know what to talk about in your private life anymore. And at the same time, projects are speeding up. The expectations rise. We need to double check and triple check everything that we do. And communication takes longer because we don't sense each other. Then we also have another gap to jump, right? Which is basically we are a Swiss little collective. So Switzerland is not big, but there is a couple of mountains, or quite a mass of mountains. So Mickey is in the south of those mountains. I'm in the north of those mountains. So it actually takes quite a while to get back and forth. And there, the modern equipment really helps us to have everyday phone calls. So if we need to whatever, do the drawings here and do a load schedule on the other end, we just start a Zoom meeting in the morning and we have it running for 8 hours. Yes, this is not sustainable. No, we need to find better solutions to make this less energy consuming. That's all clear, but that's the way that enables us to collaborate, to share, to try to stay in touch with each other, to inspire each other, to have fights.
To make it possible nowadays. I would like also to add that the pandemic situation really and the media possibilities like Zooming, phone call, sharing free screen, and doing markups live every day. That really changed our way of working on one side. But what is also important for us, it's for sure to keep the flexibilities in the pandemic, even though you might be like afraid of, and there's a lot of uncertainty, but flexibility is the key. So to flow into this new schedule of work typology as well, and to keep on sharing ideas. So even though I'm in the southern side of the Alps and Frank is in the northern, what is important is to keep communication and sharing pretty much active. I think this is what we have learned a lot during this pandemic year.
And it's so easy to get lost.
Yes.
I think this is really something that yeah, you get isolated so easily, so quickly, and you cannot just when I have Mickey in front of me, I believe I know how she is, right? But not over this medium, right? So we things may happen that we do not know anything about. So challenging, interesting, the way how it is, the way how this Luzspacio thing is working at the moment, and for as long as it exists, for that matter. And I hope that we can, and I hope that it enables us and kind of widens our perspective further, because I mean, not only do we have international projects, but also we have international collaborators and networks that and this makes it suddenly so easy to say, hey, let's exchange this, hey, let's share a project, hey, let's get your input, because this is your speciality, and eventually you can include it into the vessel that we have here at the moment, or the other way around. So that is exciting.
And challenging.
That this is, and challenging, and we all hope it's over soon. Yes. So, next slide, please.
Okay, let's start with the ping pong. With the ping and
so
pong.
That's the sharing part, right?
That's the sharing part.
Exchange, of how we exchange inspiration. The ping and the pong, and the ping.
The ping and the pong. I will start with the ping. So it's. I would like to tell you where I basically get inspiration from. And I've made a selection of some images. The first topic for me refers to natural light. These pictures were, especially the left one, was taken, I think, 10 days ago in the morning here in the little village where I live. And for me, that was a wonderful, morning setup. I was walking to get the bus, and I was like, wow. The other pictures simply show a countryside house, and it's a sunset pictures. I mean, the nice pattern and graphic patterns made of light is basically light going through a brick wall, which has like specific holes. And I'm pretty much fascinated by natural light. I mean, this is for me the main sources. That's where I go back every time I need to get inspired for something. So it's an everyday inspiring element from my point of view. Next, please. Okay, I do believe that, or Tadao Ando says that light is a mirror that reflects the culture of a place. So I have Italian roots. I am Italian, and I strongly recognize that the Mediterranean culture is something that really inspire me, and that it's impressed in my eyes and my perception. These pictures obviously tells of a Mediterranean landscape, a blue sky, and a very sharp and violent, what I call violent light. What is important for me is the presence of shadows as well, because in the south, or where there's a lot of sunlight, basically you need to somehow protect and try to control light. So shadows is also a relevant element of my idea of light. Yeah, next one. Okay, these slides refer to my background, my architectural background. It's somehow a tribute to Italy and Switzerland, which is the place where I was born and the place where I'm living. They are like completely different architecture. One is the world-famous Pantheon in Rome, which is such a beautiful architecture. Every time I go there, I spend, I think, 30 minutes like looking at the oculus. Amazed by the structure itself, the oculus and the opening in the ceiling. It's something that it's really like so charming and so moving and so flexible. So it was kind of, I was thinking yesterday, it's kind of a first artificial light effects, maybe, of into architecture, like a strong beam brought into an architecture, and it's simple, but it's really powerful, and I really like the movement of lighting during the day. The other picture, it's a thermal bath from Peter Zumthor. It's a Swiss architect. I really liked him, and for sure it's a thermal bath, so all senses are already waking up. But I do really believe that in this project was absolutely successful from my point of view, due to the fact that you have light, natural light and artificial light, which really strictly deals with material and with the senses. So this building, I've been there several times. It's really inspiring every time I'm there. Next one. Last inspiration for me, it's a specific place. I thought at Villa Panza. This is it's a house. It's a museum, a collection in Varese, nearby Lugano. So it's in Italy. And Villa Panza di Biumo, basically, it's a place where the owner in the 50s start collecting like American contemporary art pieces. So you can find there like let's say the early installation of Dan Flavin, James Starrell, and Robert Irwin. And going there, I try to go there once per year. It's not only referring like to a color experience of light, even though, I mean, I'm showing the Dan Flavin installation, but really go there. It's an immersive experience. It's a beautiful immersive experience where you can really perceive the artificial or the natural light. So I get really emotion there, and this is something that really moves my way of thinking lighting. I'm done. Next, Pong.
Pong?
Pong.
So in resonance to your Pantheon image, I think that's the only thing that I can say here. I want to share with you my long fascination for for geodesic domes, which I think is really inspiring. This combination of minimal material use, right? Of using space frames and a maximum covered surface. Yes, this is a bit sci-fi, a bit Lego, a bit Buckminster Fuller, a bit sustainability, but geodesic domes have it for me. And then there's also in this concept there's a certain essence of my search for the essence of shapes and stories, and to condense things like the Pantheon has done, and also honoring in that way the technological achievements that have been brought together, that once were utopian and then have challenged the existing borders of our human perception. And I think if there's one thing why I have joined this arts and craft field of lighting, it is very much to expand those borders, those not yet written and defined frontiers of the human visual perception. So let's go to this building. Was there a year ago? No. Please go one back, Martin. I take longer for this one. So I traveled like a year ago. I was fresh out of my job, and I had time to travel, and Wuhan was just closed, so nobody knew really what was happening. And so I decided to go on a temple tour through South India. And because I heard, and then amidst all of these old stones, all of this culture, all of these spices, I heard about a geodesic dome as part of a sort of utopian urban development, and and something like some sort of an utopian, ecological, tropical, spiritual place. And I thought, like, okay, yeah, good. I go to Oroville, which is near Pondicherry, on the coast of the Bay of Bengal, in the south of Chennai, in Tamil Nadu, where amidst 2 million freshly replanted subtropical trees, and approached by those red sandy roads, which you can imagine there, the dust gets out of your clothes again after a couple of days, I founded this geodesic dome called Matri Mandir. It is a building around a beam of light, which I'm going to explain in a moment. Matri Mandir, the word itself, means literally, it's the temple of the mother. Mother here does not mean the function, but the principle. So it's the universal mother, the principle that a mother assists a new developing consciousness in a child, or in the forthcoming. So it's the principle of a next step, a next generation that makes a new step on our evolutionary ladder, that is intelligent and conscious, and that maybe possibly helps transcending our humanity's problems and limitations. And I think that defines pretty well what a purpose is. It is as clear and as vague as a purpose can be, to transcend humanity's limitations as a building. So I got there. After 3 days of waiting in line, I actually managed to get in. And you stand at the door, a nice counter. You are asked to leave all things behind that you carry with you. All your bags, all your water bottles, all your personal, possible religious rituals, your cameras, your coins, your shoes, your words. It's a silent place. And of course, you are asked to double check your attitude at the door. So you enter the building, and covering your feet with some squeaky clean white socks, which are being offered by your volunteer hosts, you enter the building. A new slide, please. So the first socked steps that you take into this architectural daylight theater lead you through a narrow spiral staircase, dimly lit by oil candles. It has a bit of a vibe of some wellness temple, but it actually helps to focus your attention on your immediate surrounding. You narrow down. It's this typical transition that you also find in Gothic churches, right? That first you need something narrow that prepares your senses for the awe of a large space, of a void to come. You enter this void, and you enter this hemisphere, softly glowing all around, only with basically 2 large peripheral spiral ramps, not unlike sort of an inverted version of the not the Buckminster Fuller, Norman Foster's Reichstag in Berlin, right, where you also have those spirals in a dome, but here it's the other way around. It's the hemisphere going up, leading you up. And suddenly you become aware of a brighter central presence in this space, as this soft vertical shaft of light. So like the Pantheon, you suddenly have this strange oculus up there, and a very, very thin beam of light gets through, falling through the central oculus. So you follow this impression, you follow a loose path of about 80 people who are your co-visitors. You're adapting slowly to pace down, also with the slope that goes up. and you go through this somewhat dimensionless room, this room space, yeah, an infinity space for sure, and you start to wonder. You start to wonder why all of this empty space. What is this place? Why all this silent emptiness in here? I mean, is this even in the pictures? It looks a bit like a Tarkovsky movie, right? Or Logan's Run, or some 60s Bond villain. So I was mildly irritated about the absence of any symbolism in the building. There is no sign, there's no cross, there's no triangle, there's no whatever. So, however, you keep discovering a bit more on the kind of listening side. You listen into the silent echoes, so to speak, of what, yeah, a problem about geodesic domes is. You hear everything, right? Even if you don't do anything, you hear everything amplified. You're reaching the end of this spiral ramp, and this trail, slowly moving, suddenly turns into a queue. You are at the door to what they call the inner chamber, which is, so to speak, the main event of this top sphere. And yeah, you collect your cushions, and you're being shown that, well, whatever you need, choose your seating positions. New slide, please. So you enter the inner chamber, the top hemisphere. This is it, right? It's an all white space, hemisphere, some columns. You have a very crisp beam of light falling through the apex, which falls onto a focal point, a completely suffused crystal globe. You choose your seat, you sit in there. At first, the place is pretty dark, actually. It takes time to sit in this sort of pantheon without a god. But soon your eyes adapt and relax, and it becomes much more like the place that you see on the right-hand side. But right, it's the adaptation that goes on. However, you'll suddenly stare into this 17-centimeter size crystal on a golden stand, and you understand this is an electronically guided shaft of sunlight. It's so powerful that it's strange that the strange caustics of this or optics of this crystal, like in a cinema, they project and break this break of this light beam, and you see the clouds around it, the moving clouds on the marble floor. So I became aware of this condensed version of natural beauty. I became very aware of the varying light intensities with passing clouds somewhere out there. Me in here in this white infinity space. Only when the sky outside becomes too diffuse, the heliostat computer mirrored systems kick in a little extra light, so that it's still bright in there, but this type of illumination left me completely dry. It was deadly static, really imitation of life. But then a minute later, the sun came out, and this illusion of life in this strange crystal started again. So I was really asking. I need to hurry up, Nikki says.
Yes, that was the sign. Sorry.
That is the sign. So for me, the question is really: is this the tech-savvy version of meditation places? The tech-savvy version of what used to be meditation caves? And well, you sit there and you sit there and you ask yourself questions suddenly. What are you doing? Why are your eyes permanently going back to the brightest point in a room? Right? That's one question. Another question is, of course, what the hell am I doing here? However, after 20 minutes, there's a visual sign like Mickey's time. There, in this case, it's again by daylight. So on the left hand, on the upper image, on the left upper image, you see that on the top of those columns, there's integrated uplights. So again, artificial light that actually disrupts my flow. And well, just in observation, you stretch, you get up, you check if there's better viewing angles, you try to get another view, and you definitely decide, oh my gosh, I want to have this again. I leave with the others for the other door, and new slide, please. On the way out, being led out the downward spiral ramp, I now realize much more this omnidirectional glow around me, and through this kind of Bucky-esque space frame all around me, and I don't understand it because it doesn't really show what is the structure behind it. Is this all lit by individual LEDs? My God, they built this from the 1970s on. That's not possible. How the hell does that work? Why does it look pinkish in one moment and orange in the other? Is this actually the same place that I came from, where I'm entering now? I didn't understand it, so I researched. It is actually a double, the space frame which holds the sphere together, actually has 800 little holes with windows in it, and these project through those windows. Comes the light onto those triangles which cover out the inner part. The funny thing is that you see those gold plates on the outside, right? These are sandwiches, concave and convex sandwiches of gold-plated glass. The light from the sun, where this helps to shade, right, the whole building, the light that comes in there reflects in those sandwich layers, and then goes half a meter lower to this inner space frame structure. So only the diffused light is being guided through those 800 small windows, and that then makes the effect on those triangles which we see inside. However, there's still this beam of light that I'm making it shorter. There's still this beam of light. Can we please go to the next image? So you get out. It's 12 o'clock or something like that. It's southern India. It's hot as hell. You shade yourself immediately. You go under the near banyan trees to either be a bit more in silence. You're still on this huge garden landscape project called Peace. But I keep searching for this beam of light. So I go underneath this dome. And what I found underneath it is a fountain, a pond of marble shingles, which is called the Lotus Pond. So there's some water that runs down, and by the condensation and the wind, this whole space underneath the dome is naturally ventilated. So you can actually sit there and continue meditating or whatever you want to do in silence. Also in here, in the center of this lotus pond. So lotus here really stands for spiritual growth, right? That's the symbol for it. So also there is a small crystal. Also there is an oculus, and it is the same oculus, or not the same. It's the third oculus in the building. That came from above through the inner chamber, then into this infinity space, this womb space, and the beam of light is still being carried to come out through the oculus in the underside of the beam that goes down, and the very last of the light actually illuminates this other focal point, although there's so much daylight around it. So I came back for a consecutive week to this place to discover it more, to discover more silence and concentration. And of course, it's the question, for me, it raises a lot of questions, this building, like what is a modern spiritual place? But for sure, it does one thing, and that is it serves my personal needs for the expansion of the human visual perception. This building can do it. I would have loved to be involved in it. It's already built, and I'm very happy I didn't have to do it because it took 30 years to build it. So for me, this building rocks, and it rocks because it goes beyond my usual perception. It builds something new, and it takes the Pantheon from 2000 years and translates it into something which is absolutely contemporary. It rocks.
You never know,
Next
Frank.
slide.
Huh? You never know.
I never know.
Yeah, it means maybe you will get a chance to do something like that. You never know.
Oh, I would love to.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's go back to punk. Punk. It's a funny way we use to describe ourselves. We both are born in the 70s. So I think that's where it easily comes from, punk. What we want to say is that we define us as a collective of lighting designers. So the company only exists since 2 years, and we are still under construction. Meaning, it doesn't mean that we are not a company, but it means that we are working on a flexible, let's say, construction and definition of ourselves, and we like it. I think we try to follow the flow. We have like collaborators we can share with. So if we want to share a project with someone, we are happy to involve our person. We can be part of another project, so we are flexible in this. We are for sure still defining, but we are also happy to feel that we are defining ourselves, and we are not stuck already in a definition. That's why we are punk. We are a work in progress company, let's say. I would say so.
I think yes, absolutely. That's a very important thing of what we do here at the moment, is really from starting with ideas, with the free flow of ideas, to every project has a new financial background, right? That also we deal out with each other and lose our headphones over it. So maybe I said enough. Next image, please. So yeah, what are we? We were invited very kindly, and thank you, Martin, Sharon, for my lighting,
Thank you very much
for inviting us as a 50-50 gender equal company, collective. We are actually not so sure that is really true. Asking ourselves what gender really is, because we both like men, so does that count? I'm not really sure. Next slide, please. No, you want to say something?
No, just want to say that, I mean, it's what really counts is not gender, but it's like the different experience of different personalities, different cultural background. That's what enrich our company, you know. Just everyone can bring his own personality and background.
And be tough at the same time. So next slide. That's all we have to say. We all die. Times change. The rest is subject to design. That's what we're trying to do to shape our world. And thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to show a little bit about it.
Thank you, both of you. Brilliant. I now understand the title. I understand the title. That was a really sort of fascinating journey into the world of Lucespazio. Very interesting. We don't have much time, but we'll try and fit in a few questions. So one of the things I wanted to ask is, I've realized in the last year that most of my inspiration has come from traveling and from the places you see and the people we meet. And I haven't left my little corner of South London for a year. So I've really struggled to stay inspired. So, I mean, what would you say about being able to keep being inspired? Do you have any tips for people?
Share. Do exactly what we do. Share. keep talking, although you have the feeling you don't have anything to say anymore. Keep sharing and give potentially more than you think you have, because more will come back.
Yes,
that's what I can say.
I would also add be and stay curious. For me, that's always something working very much, even though it seems that the pandemic stopped everything. I think that also has been a chance to maybe see with different eyes what's around, you know, and to focus on like everyday things with a different point of view. So staying curious is the key to keep on like searching and willing to learn, and then sharing and get energy out of something. Something.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah,
I mean, they're like a community. So I was going to say we are.
Share that you have a problem. Share that you have
I've
a problem.
lost my inspiration.
Yeah,
I
lost my inspiration. Yes. I don't know a manufacturer. I don't know where to get my next job from. I have a problem with my husband. Whatever. I think share it. Open your sensitive mouths.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the lighting community has been very open in the last year. I feel it's been a very different place, and there's been conversations about all sorts of things that, you know, we've never talked about professionally before. I mean, things like our mental health, or, you know, diversity in our industry. It's definitely brought out that openness. I'm going to check and see if we've got any questions here. No, I think everyone's either super shy or they're just blown away. So I'll ask you another question.
Yes.
I work in a company that is one man and one woman also. So my question is really, in all honesty, do you ever fall out? I'm speaking from, you know, my own experience where, you know, sometimes, because it's quite intense to work as a company too, do you have your, you know, ups and downs, and how do you sort of resolve that?
Oh, sure. But I think that I was thinking also at this question, and for sure there are days like I think there the gender counts, because Frank is turning, and I always says to him like to a drama queen, and I need to calm it down because it's like turning like,
me.
And in these other days, I turn super masculine like Frank. So by doing that, we balance and we try to calm down. But again, we are open to express. But I think, and to understand for us, because we are also friends. But the main key, I think, is always to keep respect on the table, you know. So you can understand, you can be under stress, you can be whatever. But the important thing is to respect each other, you know, in a transparent way, to respect as human beings. This is the key, I think. Once you got it there, you can manage the stressful moments or the freaking out, which are part of submission and tendering and issue and whatever. So that's my point of view, like respect and transparency.
Do you have something to add, Frank?
What was the question?
He didn't like the drama queen. It's like upset now.
Of course we fall out. Of course we fall out,
Yes.
and I think that's. I think that would happen. That just happens with everybody. I mean, isn't it? Yeah. That's just normal. I mean, you choose actively. You choose actively to come back to one and the same person in your life again and again, right? So you do that because you gain something, and hopefully you gain more than you lose. So I think really the important thing, as I said earlier, share it. Right? Open your mouth. Say, hey, there's something wrong. Am I understanding you correct? Please tell me, or shut the fuck up. Right? Which we do not say, right? Because that would be rude and that is not respectful. But there's other ways like this, right? To say, come on, hurry up. Right? It's I got it. Everybody got it. It's right. Just do it. So yes, we have fallouts.
All right. Frank.
How do you deal with it?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you one last thing, because you are a sort of, you know, you're a relatively new company. Yeah. You know, what are your ambitions for your future? I mean, how do you see yourself evolving as a company?
That's a good question. I do believe.
I think that's.
Yeah. Go. No, please.
I think it's very simple. At the moment we have. At the moment we are in realistic projects, right, and with realistic budgets. So we're still very much into. Does this? Do we make the? Do we make the yeah? Do we manage the payroll, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's a goal, right? To say like, okay, maybe this year we
keep on being sustainable.
We keep on being self-sufficient, and maybe next year we can work with other people more, right? And bring in people that or do also more arts projects, which of course are funded not really greatly, but take a lot of time. So I think that would be, yeah, I want to light mountains and at the same time want to do proper buildings as well, right? So how to balance that financially and eventually to have something like one physical space sooner or later, where actually you can really say, hey, this is the studio.
Not the two studios,
and still keep the remote thing going. I think that's a goal. And, yeah, and
I just want to be
things.
Quick, but I would ask. I would add like seize opportunities. This is what I imagine for the company. Keep on seizing and be open to what comes, because there's a lot. I mean, and if you really believe in what you're doing, I think that things come, and it's like somehow it works. Keep on having fun and work with patience, because that's what we are doing. And
there we freeze.
Yeah, that was a good ending. It's a good way to end. And we do need to end because we have to start the sessions. So thank you very much for your openness and honesty and your beautiful stories. We're going to head over to ask you to head over from the stage to the sessions area. You can scroll down and you can press play on any one of the 3 presentations you would like to watch. So we'll see you again later.